Hey guys, welcome back. Blue Jays seem to be making some moves after Santander. We've gone and picked up Max Scherzer the other day. We're going to quickly break down his contract, talk about the implications, and then check in on the Vladdy situation, do a little Vladdy watch, and we will finish with just a little rundown of what we think is left to do. So let's get this thing going. Max Scherzer, Blue Jay, still getting paid by a bunch of teams, but he is a Blue Jay for this year.
Playing for the Blue Jays.
And he's getting paid. So it's $15.5 million for this 1 year.
1 year.
There's a whole bunch of incentives on the contract. Let me bring those up here. Did you have them up?
Yeah, I got him right here. So it's 15.5 for 1 year, plus 150,000 if he wins the Cy Young, 125 for second, 100 for third, 75 for fourth, and 50 for fifth. It's 50,000 each if he is an All-Star, wins a Gold Glove, or becomes the World Series MVP, and 25,000 if he's the League Championship Series MVP. So very, very winning-based incentives.
500 and change-ish in incentives kind of situation.
In total incentives, it looks like.
Yeah. So honestly, this is I was a little bit when the news of the signing came down, I was not like over the moon, like we got. But if Max Scherzer is the Max Scherzer, even close to Max Scherzer that we know exists, that he could be this year, if he's that and he stays relatively healthy, this is a slam dunk, right?
If he can give the Jays like 20 starts, like if he can stay healthy, this is the big thing. If he can stay healthy throughout the year, then this is perfect. This is an amazing signing. 15.5 million for a future Hall of Fame, Cy Young Award winning starting pitcher. That's on the end of his career, in the twilight of his career, but he's Mad Max. He wants to win. He has another level of drive, of like desire to win, and that's going to rub off on all the young guys that we've got. He's going to be a real leader in the clubhouse. He will lead by example. He will teach guys how to be professionals. I heard Chris Bassett talk about him the other day on a couple different things. So he talked on TSN and he was on Sportsnet as well, and he said that he thought he knew about pitching until he met Max Scherzer.
Right.
And that took it to a whole new level.
Right.
So just imagine like the things that he could do for Alek Manoah, that he could do for Bowden Francis, that he could do for Jake Bloss or
Tiedemann,
Ricky Tiedemann, like all just the veteran presence that he will have in that clubhouse.
Yep.
That's immeasurable.
Yep.
So with that and all the other implications, like at first I was the same. I was really like cautious about being excited about this signing.
Yeah.
Because he's 41. Can he give us 20 starts? Can he give us 10 starts? We'll just have to wait and see. But and he thinks he can. Who am I to say he can?
I've seen a few things that talked about, if he can't make it, but he can get far enough through the season that Manoah can come back. And then if Manoah is a version of an earlier Manoah, between the two of them, they could fill that fifth spot or that fourth spot or whatever spot you want to say it is in the rotation very well.
Yeah.
That would be a fine thing. My preference would be that he would stay healthy for the whole year. Now, I will say this, all honesty, I would have probably preferred that the Blue Jays had a lefty starter in their rotation. But if you can't get a quality lefty, then getting Max Scherzer late in the day is a pretty good thing to get.
I would agree with you. I think we're really kind of missing a key piece there in not getting a lefty. We didn't get that Max, but we did get this Max.
Yeah.
And I'm still cautiously optimistic about it. Like I want him to be awesome and like, come on, it's Max Scherzer. Like, so you got to be a little bit excited about that, right? Like at least because like he wants to win. Like what's the quote here? Let me get this quote up.
Yes, the reason why
I'm
he
not just
ultimately
playing to
chose.
play. I'm playing to win. I feel like Toronto offered that.
Yeah,
So Keegan Matheson tweeted that out a little while ago, and that says something. I mean, yeah, Max is like one of the main MLBPA guys, so he is really good at saying what needs to be said. But also, he could have taken less money and gone somewhere that he thought might have been better to win, because that's, he's a
yeah,
mercenary right now. He's
yeah,
playing for
yeah,
the highest. He's
yeah.
playing for the highest value team that he thinks is going to win.
Yep, you're 100% on that one. So we'll see. We'll see what the impact is. The Jays are going to have a very high quality rotation.
Very
We
high
do.
quality
We
rotation.
already know we have a very good defensive team that we've improved some defensively at least. So really, it's like this. It really is going to come down to whether or not the bats uh, can
Yeah,
support the pitching and the defense that we
which
have.
we've taken a step towards, right? Like
A step.
Santander was that step.
Yeah. And and so we know we still have Vladdy for this year. That's great. But
Yeah.
let's move on to Vladdy Watch really quickly. I don't know how where all you guys are getting your reports from, but we monitor all kinds of channels, and it's
Everything.
the different the different information you get from 1 hour to the next about Vladdy is it's overwhelming. But
Yes.
if
To
if
say the
these
least.
if these reports of an offer in the $450 million range for 12 years, if something like that is true, should Vladdy sign that thing?
Yes. I, I, I don't know why he wouldn't at that point. Like, that gives him immediately the highest contract ever for a first baseman, also the highest AAV of a contract for a first baseman, probably the longest term years. I don't know how long Miguel Cabrera's was, but he played third base a lot longer than
So
Vladdy did.
I have Miguel's up right now. So his was an 8 year with a 248 million, but it was a 31 million dollar AAV that he signed in 2016. So we're a decade on from that, and you're talking about that contract would be a 37. Vladdy's contract would be a 37 million AAV. So you're only upping that AAV 6 million a year
Yeah.
from 10 years ago. Like that's a decent value for
Yeah.
when you talk about the cost
Right.
increase of contracts now,
Yeah.
but it's also good money for Vladdy. It's record breaking. It's all of those things. So
I think 450 is perfectly fair. Like, maybe he's holding out for 475 because he wants to get on the high side of what he thinks is his value. But I mean, I think it's a perfectly fair contract for both sides, especially if you do like opt out after the fifth year or something like that. Then
yeah,
if he is amazing, he can go try and re-up, and he's still only 30. And if he
yeah,
isn't, he can stay with the team and collect his 37 plus
it's
million a
great
year.
money. Yep.
So I really hope, if it is true, that he signs that. Um, how are you supposed to know, though? Like you said, like there's so many conflicting reports coming out within minutes of each other, not like just like days of each other either. So
Yeah,
it's tough to know what is actually going on.
yeah,
And the other conflicting report is the deadline that Vladdy gave. Lots of people are
yeah.
thinking it's the first day of spring training, but I'm very certain the first report of it was said the first day of pitchers and catchers full workout, which is the 13th of February,
Yes.
which is
So
less than a week away.
we've talked about this away from the channel quite a bit because so the way this went down was he made his comment, and I'm pretty sure that was reported as pitchers and catchers, the 13th. The very first time I saw that anywhere, it
Yeah,
was that.
I
And then
agree.
it started to change in some of the Instagram posts and the tweets from the insiders that okay, they decided that it was his start of spring training. I will say that if I'm the Blue Jays, I am not playing with 5 days. I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm not like let's bring it down to the and then you miss your 13th deadline and you say
It's the 13th or the
oh
16th, so you might as well just be safe and do it on the 13th. Like, if you
yeah,
go to him on the
do it
14th and
this
he says
week.
we're done negotiating, I'm sorry. Like, Ross Atkins, Mark Shapiro, immediate firing. immediate. Like
Immediate.
you
Yeah.
do not
Yeah.
collect $200, go directly to jail.
Yeah.
Like you're out of here.
Yeah. That would be a massive, massive mistake for them to make. So
Yeah.
just keep an eye on the reports, but just remember that there's clearly not good information getting out there because the insiders that are
Well,
covering this are all over the map.
yeah.
That's
So I mean, it's tough. It's tough to compare these two. Pete Alonso. I'm going to compare. I'm going to talk about Pete Alonso for a second.
sure.
Uh, Pete Alonso just re-signed with the Mets. He turned down significantly more money than he could have made with the contract that he's making now.
No.
Um, that has a lot to do with Scott Boras, Steve Cohen standing up to Scott Boras, which was amazing. Made me really like him because I really dislike Scott Boras. Um, but he's a first baseman. The market for first baseman is not high. So if Vladdy thinks he's going to get 500 million in free agency next year, he's just wrong. Especially when Pete opts out, and you can get Pete, who is almost a guaranteed 30 home runs, never has less than 30 home runs in a season. I think his lowest season for home runs was like 35. Or you can have Vladdy, who, yeah, he's much younger and the ceiling is way higher, but like he has had ups and downs.
Yeah.
So are you guaranteed 30 home runs? No. Are you guaranteed 200 hits? Not necessarily. So I don't know. I think he's got to take 450, especially if it's 12 years. If it's 15 years, it stretches it out that little more. Maybe you wait for
That's
475.
31. That's a $31 million AAV. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so
31, 32.
terms are a big deal in that part of the thing because I think they want AAV for sure. So man, I don't know. What do you say? Like sign the thing.
The
If
whole
I'm
yeah,
Vladdy, I'm
yeah,
signing it. Like I don't
yeah.
think I'd be getting more in free agency next season. Especially now, like I said, especially now that Pete will opt out after this season,
Yeah. Well,
and
and I think an
that'll
important
change the
thing
first base
to
market.
remember is
Also,
that
Josh Naylor's a free agent next year, so that's another first baseman on the market.
the one thing you got to remember with the contracts is built in. These things all have to have the opt outs built
They
in,
all
both
have the
team
opt outs now.
and player.
It's
So
crazy.
if you're signing a 12 or 15 or whatever your contract, you're not locking yourself in for 12 years.
Not even
So
close.
you can opt out at some point down the road and change it. So for me,
Right? Like Soto's contract is a 5-year contract.
yeah, exactly. That's how you look at it, and they probably will want to opt out after.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
Almost always.
Yeah,
It's pretty rare these guys aren't opting out. And the
Yeah.
guys that aren't opting out you shouldn't have given them an opt out, probably.
yeah. So
So,
let's move on to we'll finish off with what's left to do, because we've started out this season, or the off season for sure. We've been very unimpressed with Shatkins, and we're happy to see them go at any time. But there have been a couple of positive moves. There's a couple things that are gambles, but a couple positive moves they've made to kind of get back a little bit of cred. What's the last thing? Are we done? Are we picking up any more free agents? Do you think we'll trade for a bat? What do you have left for us to do?
I don't think there's any more free agents worth picking up. I will say that.
For our
We
needs,
need a
for
bat.
sure.
We need a bat, and it needs to be an impact bat. Not a game changing bat like a Vladdy type impact, but it's got to be like, a bat that's gonna knock a guy in if he's on second base and there's less than 2 outs.
Yeah.
Or at least like a guy on 30, you're gonna get that sac fly like no matter what out of a guy. It just needs to be a good, solid professional hitter is what it needs to be. And I don't know that is available on the free agent market anymore. So there needs to be some trades. We have a surplus of outfielders once again. So I think that there could be a trade incoming. Hopefully an impact bat, like I said, but who knows with the way Ross and Shapiro do things? Who knows?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yep.
But I think that's what's left. One more impact bat for me. This team is 87 wins ish, and we're playing for a wild card spot.
Yeah, I mean,
I also think 87 wins is second place in the AL East, by the way. Just
I think that you're right. I think that for me, I'm the same place. I want an impact bat. It doesn't need to be the crushingest crusher of all time. I would prefer a little bit of contact numbers, decent OPS, that kind of thing.
yeah, it's
But
more what you need at that for this one because like we got
yeah,
Vladdy and Santander. You just need
yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and your I'd say that your assessment of the wins situation at that point would be probably a pretty good one. I think somewhere in the mid 80s, and you're competing. You're actually playing meaningful
Yeah,
baseball in August and September,
yeah,
and that would be fantastic given the last
yeah.
year.
And I
So
think and hey, Max says they've got an all-in mentality, so maybe there's something left in free agency that I'm not seeing that's worth going and getting because I mean, that's an easier way.
yeah,
It's easier to just offer money than to try and make a trade, especially with our farm system ranked 23rd.
yeah,
Um, there's not a lot there to work with, right? So if we're trading, we're probably giving up another like guy that had some major league time last year, like Addison Barger or Leo Jimenez.
yeah,
Um, if we're lucky, Davis Schneider.
yeah. So we'll see what
We'll see.
happens. We'll see what happens
We'll
with
see.
the roster coming down the line here. But there has been some positive movement, so that's great. We want to know what you guys think. Who do the Blue Jays have left to pick up? Are you happy with the offseason as it sits now? Uh, is there a trade that you want them to go out and make? Let us know. And
Let
we
us know.
will talk to you guys. If there's something that comes down, if Vladdy signs, we will get on here and we will talk about it.
We'll be reacting to that.
Okay. Until then, we will talk to you guys soon. Okay.
Go Jays.
Peace.